recording. There we go. All right. Oh, good. Chris is jumping on right now. So I always like to ask, is there anybody that's new to Wake Up Wednesday, or does anybody have a guest or anybody that hasn't been here in a while?
Hi,
Hi,
Peggy.
Janet.
I do. I'm so pleased and honored to have this gentleman not only join this call, but also join EXP. Yeah, his name is David Cobell. He lives in the Vineyard area. He lives on an island, off of an island, which is Chappaquiddick.
Sure. Okay.
But
Yep.
his real estate expertise was in Manhattan and in Brooklyn. So, oh
Huh?
yeah, he's a big guy. He was a part of the early recruits, believe it or not, because of not only his book of business, but the reputation he earned in New York. He
Mm-hmm.
was in the very first people recruited to Compass.
Whoa. That's
Yes.
incredibly impressive. Well, David, we are honored to have you not only on this call with us, but to join EXP. I'm glad you unmuted yourself. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about us and why you decided to do it. And Janet, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, Peggy. It's a pleasure to meet you and everybody on the call. Yeah, I retired from real estate 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, and moved to my
Okay.
home here in the Vineyard. And after 2.5 years of enjoying life and, settling into my life here, I decided I needed to actually do something. And I had
Mhm.
met Janet through different social circles that we both share,
Okay.
and was just taken with her vibrancy. And I thought, if I'm going to do this, rather than go backwards, and I was a founding agent at Compass,
Right.
one of in the first 100 recruited in New York, and
Wow.
yeah, it was quite flattering, but it wasn't about my book of business. It was about how I did business. I had a reputation for doing business that people wanted to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was as enticing in those days to Compass, to Robert and the crew, as a book of business. Of course, I did business, but it wasn't
Right.
it wasn't it wasn't going to knock anybody's socks off. But I had a reputation for doing business nicely, and that's what I want to continue doing.
That's important. So, what was it that when you met with Janet, and I'm sure you've had a mutual respect for each other, otherwise, you wouldn't have done this. What
Mhm.
was it that you said, okay, I am going to take this step with Janet and do EXP? Because we all love to hear that.
Well, I think it was a matter of just personal trust, essentially. And I knew I was not familiar with EXP at all. So it was something I had to explore as she was telling me about it, and I did. Um, my my experience on the vineyard with
Hmm.
Compass was very different than my experience in New York with Compass,
Okay.
because as the company grew, so much of the connectivity and fiber that held us together and we all had in common is kind of lost as it dissipates nationally. Um, and that was a little bit disappointing to me. I wanted to work with people that I have a nice relationship with. And since I have no business here, I thought it was smart to associate myself with somebody with a long history here. And there you go.
Well, I know Janet personally, and she is so respected. And I think it's just wonderful that I can tell the two of you are like this, and you're going to do real estate. Fantastic bringing EXP to there. But most important, I'd love to say it's about the brand, but it is about the agent and their
Mhm.
reputation and their
Absolutely.
client base. We can have the absolute best brand in the world, which I think we do. However, if the agent isn't in alignment with how they treat their clients and raving fans and
Mhm.
repeat, well, it's just not worth it. So, welcome. We're glad you're
Well, thank
here.
you so
And
much.
Can't wait to see what the two of you do on the vineyard. Nice job, Janet.
We'll see, Janet, won't we?
Janet, how long have you been talking to David?
Oh, as he said, we sort of move in similar social circles, and I can tell you right now, he does play a rousing game of bingo, which is one of the highlights of our winter cocktail party circuit.
Right. Killer bingo.
Killer bingo.
Well, that's awesome.
I knew it, and I know his
fantastic.
husband quite well because where his husband is also similar to David, a very accomplished man in his own right, and had moved here and retired. And I would see him periodically at my favorite restaurant, which is 19 Raw, of which Gene and Susan and Jason all know 19 Raw because they helped host our Derby party many years ago.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so David's husband has worked there, and that's how I first met Frank, and and then I met David subsequently from that. So it's been a number of years and a number of bingo games.
Well, I think you got bingo, Janet. This is
I did bingo.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anybody else new on the call wants to jump in? Just unmute yourself. We love having you here.
I'm new here. This is my first time joining the meeting.
Hi, Anna. Is it Anna?
Anna, yes.
Wonderful. And how did you hear about it, and where are you located?
So I am located in Maryland. I heard about it from Jonathan Benia. He's in the call right now. So I am going to be joining his team. It's been a wonderful experience so far. I was with another brokerage a couple of months ago and decided to make a switch. And again, he's been very helpful, wonderful throughout this whole time.
Well, if there's anything I can do to help, I adore Jonathan and coached with him for a while at the beginning of the year. He and I need to Jonathan, we need a catch-up call to see what's going on, but congratulations. We're glad you're here. And we hope you keep coming back. Anything you need, let me know. Jonathan, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself, Peggy?
I'm doing great. Congratulations. I'm bringing Anna on board. That's awesome. That's what we love to hear is, when people are growing. And can I just share, Jonathan, a little bit how we met?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So, guys, there are all other opportunities out there, and we get frustrated, right? And sometimes we think the grass is greener on the other side. And I got a phone call through Leo and through Susan that, let's face it, Jonathan was having questions about going somewhere else. And is there culture? Is there that? And, you were pretty damn close to leaving at one point.
Oh,
and he was like right there. And we started coaching together. And I'm not going to say that it's about my coaching. It's about Jonathan being open and willing to receive some other information. Maybe he didn't have all the right information, right, Jonathan?
Yeah.
You thought if you went somewhere else, he plugged in. And that's why right now I am so excited to celebrate that he's bringing Anna on board, because we could have lost you. And I'm so glad that when I made that first phone call with you, what was supposed to be an introductory phone call, I don't know, I think we're on the phone for over an hour.
Probably, yeah.
You opened up, you were honest, and you had a lot of stuff going on in your life, and we dug really deep. And I'm just thrilled that we can celebrate that you're with us and you're growing.
I appreciate all the time and energy that you poured into myself and my wife to help us figure out where we needed to focus to sort of right the ship. And a lot of the stuff, and this, Peggy, without going into too much detail. I mean, a lot of it had to do with what was going on, with me, personally, health-wise, and I'm still dealing with that a little bit, but we're in a much better place now than we were 9 months ago. So grateful for that.
Well, love that you're here. And as I said, Anna, if you need anything, Jonathan knows how to get a hold of me. I'm here to help you guys. Love it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. Anybody else new to the call? All right. Well, I am super excited to have Chris on. Chris, one of my biggest fears, I get on the call, I know everybody's last name, and Samuel will agree with this. I like close up, so I don't want to say your name wrong. So it's Stage?
Steg.
Steg. All
Gene
right.
Frederick calls me Steege. He's Steve.
I was-
Steggy. Steggy. I would get it all the time, but it's Steg. So you're good.
I'm good.
The
So
good Lord
I am
above blessed us with a hard name to pronounce, and we just answered to it all. So all good. I'm glad to be here.
I like
Well,
how you think of it as God blessed you with that name to have people,
Mhm.
you know, people will remember you. Chris
Right, right.
Stagg, I remember Chris Stagg.
Yeah.
And Samuel will tell you, I go into apoplexy. I don't want to butcher their name. So I've mastered hers and I know I will get yours, and I'm not going to listen to Gene. So it's Chris Stagg.
There you go.
So super excited to have Chris back with us. You were on about a year ago and you brought so much energy and so much value. And I know your schedule is booked. And I was like, please, 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 can you come on? And you're like, Peggy, I got you. So here we are today. I'm going to let you brag because I think it's important that you talk about your accolades. And then we are just going to hit the ground running with this call. So welcome back to Wake Up Wednesday, Chris Stagg.
Well, good Wednesday morning. I love starting off the morning. This is a little bit early. I know some of you guys on the West Coast, I mean, you're just getting out of bed, and those that are on the East Coast, you're preparing for lunch. So we're kind of right in the middle but no, I'm just kidding. But I'm thankful to be here. I love this crew. We're going to be talking today about the power behind a thriving community. And Peggy has built this for a number of years now. Every Wednesday to wake up and get some help, to hear some nuggets, to experience some gold from different folks from different walks of life, some proven strategies to help move the ball down the field. And my goal today with you guys is to challenge, but also to encourage. And there are Peggy, remind me, we're talking to a bunch of EXP folks here, right?
We're EXP, and sometimes we have guests on as well. So all is
Great.
fair in love and war. That's what I say.
Love it. Well, this will apply to whether you're with EXP, which I'm thankful. I'm almost with the company for 8 years this year. And for those of you that are part of EXP, just know this. Hear me on this. It is a long-term strategy. It's not a short-term anything. And you have to just keep going. And we're going to be talking today about the power of relationships and drawing people in. And this can be applied to attracting talent. If you've got a brokerage, if you have a team, you've got a formalized team on how to bring people into your life, into your business, how to create that competitive advantage, how to go against the grain of what the majority is doing. And that has been my life. I've been very fortunate over the last 30 years of my adult life to be challenged to go against the grain of what is the talk and what is taught by the majority in our space. And so whether you're with EXP or KW or Coldwell Banker or whatever, we love you all. This can be applied to all because we want to get better at developing the relationships with those. So I've been in this space for 12 years. I sold a company. My wife and I were without children 12 years ago. We were in Austin, Texas. If you guys are familiar with that part of Texas, it's Central Texas. So we're just about 2.5 hours south of Dallas. And it's a thriving area. We love it. I'm a Texas native, spent some time in Nashville, about 9 years in the music industry, had a completely different life back in my 20s, lived my entire 20s, traveling all over the country. I got paid to play. It was fun, enjoyable. And then moved back to Texas. My wife and I, we were then dating. We got married. And then 12 years ago, I jumped into the real estate space. And I'm so thankful that I did. I love this. It, like a lot of you, it's not really work. It just comes natural because we just love people. And if you just love on people and you serve people and you know the value of a thriving community and how to collaborate well and work together with the team. A lot of you that are on the phone, that are on the Zoom today, um, don't work well for bosses. We work well together as a team, and we want to move forward. But I don't work well as an employee. I work well as a teammate to the bigger picture. And so I'm probably speaking some
You're talking my language.
I mean that right. And so
Yeah.
but I love seeing your faces. I see some familiar faces. I see some unfamiliar faces. One of the things I love the best, I love that Zoom is such a tool, and that's what it is.
Yes.
But nothing replaces a warm handshake, in person, back and forth, a hug, catching up face to face. Each of you having a conversation across an actual physical table. Um, Janet was talking on here in the beginning, and I'm like, how many of us want to go and spend time with Janet and David? I mean, come on, that is a beautiful part of the country, and I've yet to experience that part of the nation. And I'd love to come and see you sometime, Janet. So good seeing your face, Samia. I know you from every week we get a chance to see each other virtually, but I'm excited to be here. So can we get started? Can we kind of get into this? What is we ready to go?
We're ready to go. Let's jump in.
Okay. All right. So today we're going to be talking about how to attract more and how to chase less. And this could be for you. You might hear some familiar things. You might hear some things that you're going, it might tilt your head and go, oh, that's different. Okay, I can do that, or I can take this back to my team, to my group, and share this value with them. But it's going to be a little bit different. There might be some things that might ruffle some feathers. It might, because you hear the talk. We're going to be talking about this today, and this kind of goes back to people don't care. They don't remember facts and features. They don't remember facts and features. What they do remember is how they felt, how they feel, and stories. Your story can have an impact on many, because we go back to when we first started in this business, and what was the foundation, what really built that firm foundation. Because if you're new to the business, we've got to build that foundation so that you can build that skyscraper. You want to be very clear on where you're going. Like we're in a space where we get to determine our own salary. That's the fun thing. A lot of people will kind of go, well, I'll just take whatever comes my way. No, we get to determine what we want to make by year ending. And then we can work a systematic approach on each day on how to fulfill that number. And so when I first got in this business, we're going to be talking today about being a magnet versus hunting. And we want to focus more on how to become a magnet, how to become an attractor versus chasing people down, because chasing leads to exhaustion. Chasing leads to burnout. There's a lot of hurt right now. As you guys, not my organization, my agents are all across the board. I'm in roughly 26 markets across the country, and this is felt all across the board. And there's so much hurt happening right now, but there's also a lot of good happening right now. And we hear all the time in conversations as we're out having socials, and as we're meeting with folks, one-on-one conversations and group settings, and it's all about how's the market? How's the market? We hear that all the time. The market is the market. It is what it is. This is where a lot of hurt is happening, and this is the encouragement to you guys today, and also something that you can take back to your organizations and share the joy of this. The market is the market. The market is the abundance of inventory. That's the market is interest rates. Market is the headlines. The market is the trends, things that we cannot control. We can't control. Your market, my market, is what we can control. It's our daily conversations. Our market is the consistency in our daily habits, and it's the overall developing relationships every single day. If an agent right now needs a shock of joy, if they need a shock of some growth, if they need a shock of that next deal, you know what it is? It's how many conversations are you having every single day? Because I know this to be true. There are a lot of deals out there for qualified buyers. There's 150 a day that are moving to Austin, Texas, that many are qualified buyers. They're out there. I mean, we have buyers that are ready to go, and there are deals to be made. And how do we attract those buyers? How do we stand out and not blend in? And this has been my aim every single day, is how do I have conversations with people that are drawing them in to my ecosystem, to me, to my branches of business, and listening to them. I've built a large network here in Austin 8 years ago. As in fact, we were talking about the power of a yes. Oh, Anna, you're here as a result of Jonathan, and so many are here. This wonderful gift that we've been given with EXP, because it is a gift because of someone else's yes. Like Allison Gaddy, Don Hobbs, better half. Don came into the networking group that I started 8 years ago, and as a result of him pulling me aside and sitting me down and introducing me to Allison, I came over and joined this wonderful brokerage as a result of her yes. And I'm so thankful. She just celebrated 10 years of with this organization, and as a result of her yes, and as a result of Jonathan's yes, you're here, and it's going to bless you richly. And there's not a better place, in my opinion, to be. But I remember starting this group called Greater Value Network, and greater value means what's important to the person on the other side of the table. When you walk into a listing appointment, when you walk into a one-on-one, you're listening. A lot of the times we hear, and when we do open houses, people walk in the door, and we're already thinking about what to say about the features of the home without listening to understand their name. And there's a great book called Excellence Wins, and it's written by Horst Schulze, and it's he's the founder of the Ritz-Carlton, and he gives a step-by-step overview on how they've built such an organization, and they talk about the advantage, the competitive advantage that they've built by just simply listening to understand their names and calling people out by their name. And so I listen to understand their name, and I listen to understand what's valuable to them, what's most important to them. And then here's what I want to share with you today on how to make that connection. We listen to understand. So we have to ask great questions to listen to find out more about what's important for them. A lot of the times we work in a profession where we're working with different belief systems and different people and different values and different all kinds of different people, red, yellow, black, and white. They are all precious in a. It's like where are we? How are we connecting? And this is how you connect with others. You ask great questions, and you sometimes have to continue asking those questions and keep going until you find a connection. And once you find that connection, you go in that direction. And if you're an extrovert like me, if you're in sales like me, if you're always thinking about the next project and what's going on, and you're excited, you're enthusiastic, you've got a lot to say. But if you just step back and go, this person, I'm not to be interesting, I'm to be interested.
Love that.
That's the most important, is that's how we shift in connecting with others, is you're interested in the person right across from the table. They're not going to remember facts. They're not going to remember the features of the home. They're going to remember how they felt, in this case, when they leave the open house. When they leave that table, they're going to remember, man, how did I feel? There's a book right now that we're reading in a book club. Many of you are on. It's called Exactly What to Say by for real estate agents, written by Phil Collins. And there was a chapter previously we talked about an experience. Like, what's your experience? You know, and when you think about that word experience, man, we've all had those memorable experiences that we walk into a hotel, we walk into an Airbnb, we walk into a restaurant with our significant other, and we walk out of that restaurant with a wonderful memory. And we go home and we go back to our communities and we start talking about that experience. I mean, we want to create experiences for those that we get the privilege of sitting down with or meeting, connecting with at an open house. So I say open houses because that's where I started. I sat down with a broker that I was partnered with at the time.
Just not making dinner, but I wanted to do a quick.
He had been in the business. No, we love that. It's all good. We love that. Hey, so I went out, took him out to lunch, and I said, "Hey, John, tell me something," because he knew the amount of dollars that we needed to make at the end of the year. And I said, "This is what we need to do. We don't have to sell our house. We don't want to have to move down in cars. We want to continue the lifestyle on this trajectory up." And I'd sold a company in 2013, and I took about 6 weeks off. I been dodging real estate at that time for years. Looking back on it, it was silly. So thankful that I took that leap of faith, and I met this broker buddy of mine named John, and I said, "John, tell me this. What's one thing you can share with me that agents don't do enough of, but if they did do more consistently, they would see greater fruit?" And because it was all about, at that time, there were so many things that were coming my way as a new agent. As you guys know, there's so many things that really are distractions. They don't move you forward. And I was looking for a focus. I was looking to have a clear path, because entrepreneurship wasn't new to me, but this space was newer. And so I just needed some, like, give me some guidance. Give me something. And he said, "Okay, Chris, here's what it is. If you'll do one open house a week, every week for your first 12 months in the business, it'll equal a minimum of 12 transactions your first year." At that time. And at the time, in Austin, Texas, an average sales price was $350,000. And I did some quick math, and I realized, okay, if it's at 3%, okay, there's the cost of doing business, there's taxes, there's brokerage fee, there's splits, things like that. So I need to go up in price point. And so he didn't tell me how to do it. He didn't tell me where to do it. He didn't tell me what to provide. That's exactly what he shared with me. I went to work. And here's what I did. I treated open houses like a 9 to 5. I didn't do anything else, because I've been blessed with the ability to connect with others. And if I can connect, I can convert. And so that's what I did. I did 63 open houses my very first year, and I focused on doing them different, creating experiences. And I go into a much deeper dive on what I did and how I attracted 40, 50, 60, 100 people through on a Tuesday afternoon at this open house. I have a 60-day group collective. We could talk more about that, Peggy, here in a little bit, but I made them experiences, and I went against the grain of what the majority was doing. Most agents are doing open houses from 1 to 3 on a Saturday, or 2 to 4 on a Sunday. That's because that's the talk. That's what's taught. That's when people are going to be out. I did open houses on a Saturday and Sunday twice, and I never did them again unless the sellers that I was working with, I was partnered with, that was the only time that they had available. I would honor that. But I went out and I did a Tuesday evening or a Thursday midday, and I would do back-to-back open houses, because no one else in the entire city of Austin had any open house signs out on a Tuesday afternoon. What? That's what I did. And I was very specific on where I built my business. I didn't go all over the city of Austin. Like, you don't want to go all over because I don't know the things. I don't know the up and coming commercial developments. I don't know the schools. I don't know those things. And so if you want to grow big, you got to start thinking small. And so I worked a very specific zip code where people saw my signs. Every single Tuesday, they saw my signs. And so that consistency created credibility. Consistency creates credibility. The more consistent that you are, the more credible you become. And so every Tuesday on the work drive home, I would cluster signs and I would work in specific price points that would bring me a better outcome. So that first year, the price point that I was working in was nothing less than 600,000 up to 900,000, because all of us know that's a better outcome than selling a house. It's the same amount of work. It's just a greater outcome. And so that first year, I far exceeded the 12 minimum. And I was on the up and up. I built an 8-figure business my very first year in the business. And then second year, it grew more than 30%. Still doing open houses. I did 56 that next year. And by the third year, I was so busy and I had such this massive pipeline of potential buyers and sellers that I had to bring in another agent to help with these folks. And so that's what I did. And I also spent time on how to attract sellers. Most agents will work open houses to attract buyers, but I repositioned my approach on how to attract sellers. And so many of my sellers, my listings over the last 10 years have come from a result of those 2 years, because they saw how I marketed my open houses. They saw the experience. They remembered that when they left the room and said, if he can market this for an open house, how is he going to impact my own listing? And so we could talk more about how I was able to attract sellers. And I go in on this on a much deeper dive during the 60 days that's coming up on September 30th. And so any questions on that? I want this to be interactive, but also want to make sure that I'm not just the only one talking here. Any thoughts, any feedback?
I have a question.
How do we attract sellers? Yeah, it's a good question.
I have a question on I know that you make a connection and all that. How did you set up the vibe in the home?
Yeah.
Just to keep it positive and for them to be forthcoming.
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that, Diddy. So every single home. So this is what I would do. I'm just give you a little brief snapshot of how I prepped. I identified the home. And so so remember, I treated this like a 9 to 5 every single week, because I knew if I continued in this, and I did my share of no-show open houses. I mean, it's open houses in this case is a numbers game. The more you do it, the more you measure, the more you track. You want to be very specific and strategic on where the open houses are located. I use the path of least resistance. Down a main street intersection, hang a left, third house on the right, versus the home that's way back in the corner, down 13 turns to get to the end of a cul-de-sac. So I'm going to get people coming through. So we want to find the homes that are easy to find, and then also that are priced, that haven't been on the market for 147 days, that are recent price reductions. That's going to bring about more business. That are new, that are 30, 45 days in the market. And so I'm very specific about identifying that home. Then the next thing I did is I made sure that I promoted the home. I treated it. So when I first started in the business, I didn't have listings. I had to go out there and connect with other agents who had listings and partner with them. And that was my question. Hey, you've got a beautiful home on 1234 Main Street. Would your sellers be opposed to me running an open house this week from Tuesday or Thursday? I've got Tuesday or Thursday open. Which one works best for you? And it usually what happens is I would go through 3 or 4 agents and one would say, no, we're okay. We got it covered. Great. Thanks. All the best to you. Then I would go to the next one. And then I developed relationships with about 10 agents that in a crazy hot market, developing relationships with other agents that aren't in your brokerage, they're going to look at your offer first and foremost. They're going to know that this person is legit. This agent is legit. I'm going to take some time to look at their offer because I know Chris Stege. I know what he's going to bring. I know him. We're connected. We're collaborating. He's working with me. We're partnering together. And so that's what I did. And so I identified. I started promoting. I prepped the home before the actual open house. I hosted the open house. And then I've followed up because the fortune is in the follow up. And then I repeated the next week. And this was a 5 to 6 day. Most people will go out and put signs out. I actually hired a sign holder. You know, those guys that are out there flipping signs, like, you know, you got a factory mattress store, or they're trying to close out. So I would hire an individual that would hold up a sign, and I had 50 signs out with my brand. And there were some things that I can do very specifically. Is it Diddy?
Didi.
Diddy, yeah, Didi. That I did, Didi, yes, that I did specifically to draw people in. But just know this: I partnered with a local nonprofit, and we would do stuff in July, and they would bring their backpacks. They would bring all their school supplies to the open house. They would drop them off inside the open house because I could get traffic in through there. So people would, so I partnered and I did so many things around a nonprofit. It's working with youth in foster care. I sit on the board of a nonprofit here. And so we'd see 30, 40 people come through just to drop off backpacks, but I would get people through and I would connect with them and I would meet them. They may or may not be in the market for a new house or a home, but I was able to attract people and I was able to connect with them. Lastly, I will say this just to give you more of an experience is what did I create? I started Greater Value Network. Jonathan, I'll come to your question here in just a second. I started Greater Value Network because I wanted to attract more. We know the greatest form of advertising will always and forever be what? Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Referrals.
And referrals. And so I wanted to create a network of not just good people, not great, but like great people that are thinking like, how can we create raving fans? There's a great book that I give to everyone that it comes into my front line organization. It's called Legendary Service. It's written by Ken Blanchard. And Ken wrote a book back in the early 90s called Raving Fans. And it's just a good layout of how to create this exceptional customer-like service. And you can apply it into your own business. But Legendary Service is it's like Raving Fans on steroids with a newer twist. It's a really, really good book. But I actually did these things called Sell Smart open houses. And this is how I was able to attract sellers. I would bring in 5 vendors, 5 of my network. I would bring in a home stager. I would bring in financial advisor. I would bring in my mortgage person. I would bring in my landscape company, because I know the power and we know the advantage of when people drive up to a home, first impressions are key. And if you've got nice looking curb appeal, and if you can know the very specifics on what to do to make that home attractive, buyers are going to walk inside of that home based on what it looks like on the exterior. And so I would have them come in and I'd have these little booths and they would be set up all throughout the house. But the requirement was you can come and be a part of this Sell Smart Work open house, but you've got to get people, you've got to get your network into this open house. And so when you have a well-connected, well-established company that has a big network that will bring their people in, this is how you can get 50, 60, 70 people through on a Tuesday evening, 4 to 7 p.m. open house. And here's the cool thing. I was just looking for one. Like I can't have them all, I'm looking for that one quality. Who can I impact just one person today? And I can't tell you how many deals I closed so many deals by working through. I travel all over the country talking about how to leverage strategic partnerships because we build through people, and that's the power and advantage of what we have our hands on. Jonathan, what's your question, brother? Good to hear. Good to see you.
Yeah, this is actually a really timely conversation. So, I just want to, I'd love to get your thoughts on a situation that I am navigating right now. Because ordinarily I wouldn't focus too much on this, but obviously with the market shifting, every deal becomes precious, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a listing that went active about 2 hours ago. I have an open house scheduled for it on Saturday, 11 to 1. It is a piece of steaming garbage. Um, we just cleaned out, I don't know, 10,000 roaches out of the house. I mean, yeah, but it's great for investors. So I started marketing it on Facebook. I have spoken to 60 different investors in the last 48 hours. I know that I've got at least 20 people confirmed to be going through the open house on Saturday. What I'm really interested in, because we are in a significantly slowing market, is come Saturday morning at 11 a.m., I'm going to have a lot of cars on that street. So, and I'm really not thrilled with the idea of inviting all of the neighbors to come tour through this house that's just been fumigated and has a little mold problem in the basement, and I mean, it looks terrible, right? But what is the right course of action to leverage that to bring attention from the other sellers who live in that subdivision?
Yeah.
That this is the kind of movement that we can create on a new listing.
Yeah. Yeah. You said it's when on Sat. You said it's on Saturday.
Yeah,
This
Saturday.
week. If there was any way that you could get a private showing from the sellers just to give feedback, to get them into the open house prior to the public open house from 11 to 1, to simply say, I want to get your feedback. Would you come in and give me your feedback on this house? You might know someone that it might be a good fit. Do you have a friend, or do you have a family member? Do you have a coworker that wants to become a neighbor? And so
this isn't a wants to become a neighbor kind of property. This is
they know the roaches. They understand.
I mean, this house has to be gutted.
It has to be completely gutted.
Yeah.
So one of the things I would do is I'm a little bit more aggressive when I talk through. I want to make sure that when I go to an open house, I'm spending my time. I've got 2.5 hours. I want to be a good steward of my time. And so a lot of what I did was I've got like 5 things that I did. I did this thing called the cloverleaf method. And I made sure that I had 5 conversations with people before I left that open house. And sometimes I would do that before if I knew that, man, it's just not going to be a busy open house. But I wanted to make sure that I connected with neighbors some way, somehow. So I went, I door knocked, and I just said, hey, my name's Chris Stege. I'm hosting an open house over here right across the street. And I'd love for you to come through. Now, this one's obviously a different setup, but I'd love for you to come through and give me your feedback on, have y'all seen this master bathroom? Oh my gosh. Like, you got to come see this. Like, I would just try to connect with others. And the purpose of me doing that is I got to make connections. I have to have conversations. I want this to be fruitful. Sometimes it went somewhere, sometimes it did not go anywhere. But also, I also made sure, Jonathan, that I had some type of lead capture.
Right.
Some type of lead capture that scan a QR code to get a free list of area listings. Like when I worked in an area, very specific, I knew exactly the developments. I knew the up and coming listings. Some of these weren't yet posted on the MLS, but I knew of 2 or 3 others. I knew of 4 others that were coming up, and people would come into the open house based on that QR code that I had, scan the QR code for a free list of nearby homes. Now, I started doing this 12 years ago. And so this also partnered with my open house signs. Now, I didn't have the QR code on the open house signs. I had a big sign that said free list of area homes along with my open house signs. And so that also was able to, so when they scanned that QR code, Jonathan, I had that set up to capture their leads. They had to put in their email address. Once they put in an email address, it automated this free list of nearby homes.
So Chris,
Okay.
what I think, Jonathan, so are you saying that this is like a totally gut, right? It's going to be a flip?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's cash only. And that's why, like I said, I've got 60 investors that I've spoken to about it because
I see, I would walk the neighborhood and I would say,
Mhm.
hey guys, I just want you to know, and maybe you know someone, or maybe you've always wanted to do a house. We are going to have an open house that the traffic is going to be crazy here. And if you were thinking of doing a flip, wanting to see this in advance, I'd hate for you to miss this amazing opportunity in your neighborhood that you could be a part of, or maybe you know someone. So I would knock doors and start the conversation that way and just let people know it's going to be crazy this weekend, but I can get you in case you are a flipper or someone who doesn't mind a project.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Chris, I haven't done this before. I've been in the business 18 years, so some of the things I do are a little old-fashioned. Um, uh, are you using QR codes for like open house sign-in registrations?
Yes, I do. So one of the things that I talk about is I don't give the sign-in sheet
Mm-hmm.
to the guests walking through the door. I control the sign-in sheet.
Exactly.
I control it. I want to be in control of that. And so as I'm walking around the open house, I'm asking these great questions. And when I get their name, and so I'll write their name down on the sign-in sheet. And then I start asking questions about what's the familiarity with the area. Well, they just flew in from from California. They got to buy a house in the next 30 days. So I understand, okay, here's their motivation. Their need to buy a house. I'm just scribbling that stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ask the question, hey, what's your preferred method of communication? I just assume that, it's either phone or email. When I ask that question, what's your preferred method of communication? I'd love to stay in touch with you. Would you be opposed to that? Like I ask those questions because I'm looking for one. I'm looking for that one person that is looking for me.
Right.
And so I ask great questions. And that's one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys today is that we've got to ask better questions. Better questions will get us quality answers. The subpar question, how you doing? Where are you from? What do you do? Those are usually one word responses.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's just good. You kind of your voice changes. It's good. It's okay. But when you can sit down with someone and just say, hey, what's the highlight of your week? Tell me about it. Like now it gives them something very, because a week is it's 7 days. So do they really want to know how's my week? Or are they just saying that because that's what they've heard others ask?
Others say, yeah.
Gene has shared the teammate. Tell me about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I've been using tell me about yourself a long time because it's not really a question. It's like a question, but you can keep asking, tell me more about that. Tell me more about that. And so I've been able to obtain listings over the last 12 years by asking better questions, not leading with my price, my product, my features, and leading with value. When you can lead with value, you have a greater opportunity to obtain that listing in this case when you lead with value. Leading with value is what's important to them. When I walk into a big home and I see a big pool and a pool house, and I see upstairs and I can see this couple is downsizing because they raised their 5 kids in this home. When I walk into the home and I say, hey, tell me about, man, y'all got some stories. Y'all got some stories. Hey, I want to know what's the, like, where do people congregate? Y'all raised 5 kids here. what's the favorite room? Where's the place in the home where people just came and tell me about it? I want to hear more about that, because I'm going to be able to use that as a way to help move the listing. I've already got the listing before I'm walking in, because I see a stack of pamphlets of other agents that are leading with what makes them stand out.
Right.
And the thing is, the sellers have already done their due diligence on you. They've already Googled you. You're getting to step inside their home because they've already Googled you. What they're really wanting to hear is, do they care about me? They care about me because this is a home that we raised our family in, and so I've picked up several listings by going against the grain of what most agents are doing. And so I want to get to Jonathan, and I'm happy to talk with you offline, because I've got some other things that I want to share with you on how to sell a steaming pile of, what'd you say, garbage. We've all had those, right?
Well, the thing is, no, I know it's going to sell. I mean, I'm going to have
sell.
multiple
Oh
offers
yeah,
by the end of the
you know.
weekend. What I want to know is what I want to make sure I'm doing is I want to figure out how I'm going to leverage that into the neighbors, because this is the worst house on the block.
Yeah.
You're
to
solving a
obtain,
problem, but you're
Yeah, you are.
solving the problem.
Oh
You
yeah.
are gonna
Well, I'm
be-
solving that problem, but that's not the but what I want to know is, how do I get their listing when they list 12, 18 months from now? Like, how
Yeah.
what is the conversation? Because it's not, come take a look at this awful looking house. And that's, but I know that there's got to be something in there that is related to, this house looks terrible. I'm going to solve that problem. And 6 months from now, it's going to raise the average value in this neighborhood.
Okay, so here's what I would do in that situation, and I did this very very similar to what you're trying to accomplish, because you want those listings. You want those.
It's
You
about
want
the
those.
listing.
You want
It's
those.
about the next
So
listing.
I would find other nearby listings. I would own that community.
Yeah.
Like people knew Chris Stege because in 78757 here in the city of Austin, in the urban city of Austin, where there is a bunch of traffic coming down the workday, they would see my signs every single week. Every single week. And then on Thursday, so this would be on a Tuesday, let's just say, I would do an open house from 4 to 7. And I would have another house already prepped and prepared on Tuesday evening to showcase, to host on Thursday. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I know this house isn't really, the kitchen does not meet your needs, and the garage, yes, the garage is in the back, and you want something more in the front. You want more of a ranch style house. On Thursday, I've got another open house, similar price point. It's just 4 blocks away, and it meets your needs. If I could send you an invite to that open house, or better yet, if y'all had an hour before the open house, would y'all come and meet me there, and let's walk through. This should be a private tour. And here's what I did with that. One, it was caring for the individual. It was listening to what is important for them, knowing the area, and when they would show up, if I saw them a second time, my Saturdays and Sundays were open to then show them property. They were now my client, because I simply cared about that individual. But all this to say, Jonathan, is that when your face shows up consistently in that area, that credibility starts to just, they're going to see you as the specialist, not just a general agent that just has the red and white open house signs that are just trying to make something work. That is your area. You own it. You're the authority in that area. Yeah.
That's exactly one of the things you and I talked about in our email back and forth, was stand out in any market, discover all the strategies, and the consistency is so important.
Yeah.
If you don't have 20 signs and an open house, you're not doing a great open house. People want to see that all the time. And I really want to impress, we say this and I bring it up, what Jean talks about. Tell me about yourself. Don't tell me about you. I don't care if you paddleboard. I don't care if someone in your family also has cancer and he uses that, you know, story with Susan. Don't talk about that. Just keep listening with them. Let them talk, go deep, shut up and listen. And those are the people that are winning because everybody else, especially with high ed personalities, they want to say, oh, I paddleboard. Oh, I jet ski. Oh, I own a house at the beach, or I've got these great cars. Stop it. Just absolutely stop it. And I've had to learn this because I thought it was connecting. I thought that was part of the way of connecting. On the first conversation, you know, just let them talk and they will tell you everything. So you're bringing up some really, really great points here.
Yeah, I actually I have an open house kit that I encourage those agents on my team that want to, you know, we want to go where the masses are going. And I mean, a lot of they're going to open houses. And I have this giant 4 foot by 5 foot canvas of the city of Austin, and I have a Post-it note. And this is put up in my open houses. And because so many people come through that are not familiar with the area.
Right.
But I'm just thinking of what's something of value that I can provide at this open house that's going to make that guest stick around for 3 or 4 minutes longer. Well, I now I've been the last almost 10 years now. I specialize in golf course communities. I'm a golfer. My family, I have 2 daughters that are in a golf league. We talk the language. We live on a golf course. And so west of Highway 183, I know every golf course. And so I've built the Stege Golf Property Group. And so that's my specialty. So I can talk the language. When I bring people into a community, if I'm spending more time on the amenities because they're buying the lifestyle before they're buying the home. So if we can live in this mindset of, well, it's a home and it's a nice home, but they're walking into this community, they're driving into this community because they care about the convenience, the amenities, all the social, all the things. And so I spend more of my time on taking them around my golf cart, giving them the red carpet tour, introducing them to the event managers and the golf pros and all the people. And I give them an experience. And that's how I've built my business. But I have a little small putting green with three golf balls and a putter. I'm thinking about children. And so, guys, once again, this is crazy, but I bring in small coloring books. And I think, okay, there's people that are going to be walking through here, but what if I had some coloring books? And I can't tell you how many coloring books I've gone through and how I've given away. And once again, they're branded coloring books. And they sit down in this little small area and the kids go in there and they start coloring while their parents are looking around. But I can connect with the parents. Those are just some small things that I do that allow people to stick around and stay for 2, 3, 4 minutes longer.
So we've got like 2 minutes left. I've never heard the coloring book. That is right there, worth the price of admission. So anything else? I mean, building the relationships, I think talking about the open house, it is an event, but you're on an interview. When you are holding an open house, those potential buyers, which are your potential sellers, they're interviewing you folks. And when they're so impressed that you're doing such an awesome job compared to all the other open houses that they're going to, you got to show up, put your game face on. And sometimes I hate to say this, it's not about selling that house. It's about the interview that you are sitting in right then and there. Don't ever forget that, because how you show up there, that's how they know how you're going to show up on their house. So, okay, we got a minute. Any questions? Boy, this hour went by. I'm like, fast. Really? Is this hour over already? Unmute yourself if you got a question for Chris. You just want to say anything.
I have a question, another question, Chris.
Yeah. Hey.
In your open houses, and thank you for doing this for us today. In your open houses, do you give out the information sheet on the property, or do you have them give you their contact information to receive it? Like that you have their
Yeah,
information?
it's changed over the years, and we live such now in a digital world that I really don't provide my business card as a digital business
Mhm.
card because it's attached to either that listing, so
Right.
they can go back and reference. So much of this is every single open house that I did, I made sure that every single nook and cranny was the ability to capture that lead,
Mhm.
and I've built a massive pipeline by doing just that over the years. And some went great, some are clients to this day, and some just went on. But
I haven't had a paper business card in over
yeah,
10 years.
yeah,
And I do open houses in California, and I do everything by my phone. I say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I ran out of flyers here. And I just give me your number, and I just automatically, that way they're giving it to you. I text them right away and I send it to them. So I operate without anything. I want to capture their information because they're going to throw my business card in the trash.
right.
That's my opinion on business cards.
Every single thing, Dee Dee, that you do, you want to ask yourself the question: who am I serving today? And in the conversations that I'm having, how am I creating so much value to where I'm drawing people in to my life versus I'm asking questions that are just going to end up being chasing them down, and it's just not going to go anywhere. And so every single thing that you do, what are the questions that you're asking that are drawing them in to where that next engagement is already scheduled by the time they leave. And this is with agent attraction, this is with open houses, this was with everything. I want to make sure that before we leave, there's something that's going to continue. It's not just a thanks, see ya.
Exactly. Chris, you talked about three great books. I have obviously Raving Fans,
Yeah,
Legacy Service,
yeah.
and then exactly
Legendary,
what um
legendary Service by Kim Blanchard. Another one
legendary
that you guys will love to read, and I would love to uh, hear your thoughts on this after you do. But it's called Oversubscribed, and
over
it's how to get people lined up to work with you. It's written by Daniel Priestley. Oversubscribed. How to get people lining up to do business with you is the subtitle. And then the most recent book, Excellence Wins. Yes, thank you for sharing that. It's a good one. The most recent book that I'm reading is 10x is easier than 2x. And this is a book written by Dan Sullivan, strategic coach for like 40, 50 years, Benjamin Hardy. But this is how world-class entrepreneurs achieve more by doing less. And it's a powerful book. It's one of those books that just grabs you by the first page. You're like, okay, I gotta get through this and apply it. But those are the books that I'm.
And you had one more, Exactly
Let,
What to Say by Phil Collins.
yeah, exactly what to say. Exactly what to say. It's a quick read, but this is really good to help with those quality questions, those prompts to get people into conversations. So yeah, Excellence Wins, Exactly What to Say, Legendary Service, 10x is easier than 2x, and Oversubscribed. I've become a reader later in my life, in my 30s and 40s. I know that you look at all these millionaires and billionaires, in every single one of their homes, what do they have? They have libraries, two-story libraries. They don't have necessarily big screen TVs. And so if we want to get better at our craft, we want to become better readers. So yeah.
Chris, I
Yeah.
can't
Thanks.
thank you. I mean, this flew by.
It did,
Thank you
yeah.
so much. Pop in anytime on
Yep.
Wake Up Wednesday. And thank you everybody for being on. Anna, welcome to our group. Super excited to have you join the company. This hour just flew by. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And David, I got to get out to the vineyard. Welcome to EXP as well. So we'll see you guys next week. I hate saying goodbye, but gotta go.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Peggy.
You're welcome. Good
We're
to
new
see you.
too. We're on the Space Coast in Florida, so we'll be joining in to you guys soon.
Yeah, Jula, how many people do you have in that room?
I think we had
Two more.
One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6. But we have usually we have more, but we also share the link. And could we get the recording by any chance?
Yes, I will get that. Judith, do you have my phone number?
I don't.
Let me give it to you and anybody else. 860 638 7944. You're on the Space Coast.
Yes.
I come out there. Is this your group or?
I'm with Rock. So except Patrice, they are on my team, and then we're Rocket City.
Rocket
We do commercial, and then we do residential also.
Wonderful. Let's connect. Give me a call because I come over to that coast.
Yeah, let me know when you're here, and we'll love to have you either at the office or meet for coffee or whatever.
Would love it. Absolutely. I'm going to be there this weekend, but it's a quick trip. But I'm moving back to Cape Coral, so I'll be over there all the time.
Okay. So I'll message you, and if you have time this weekend, it works great for me too.
Okay, fantastic. Bye, everybody. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. See you guys later. Bye.